What's up, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're like me, you're usually pretty busy, on the go, and sometimes the best time that I have to edit is right after a shoot, even before I get home. And actually, I've found that my tablet has been super useful for that, especially with the Adobe suite, such as Lightroom CC on my Apple iPad. So I'm going to show you a little bit about my workflow, how I take an image from straight out of the camera and then into Lightroom to the finished product. So let's get right into it. Alright, now that we're in our iPad or tablet, whatever you're using that runs Lightroom CC, whether that be a Surface, iPad, or even on your computer, a lot of these things still apply. So first thing we'll do, we'll jump into Lightroom. Alright, now that we're in Lightroom, you can see I've got some images in here already. Some that of myself just practicing, and then we've got Alex here. And this photo I really like. I took it a little bit brighter than I could have, and you can tell when I go into exposure and boost it, we start to see that background. We don't want to see that. So the first step we're going to make is we're going to go over to Selective Edits on the right side. I'm going to tap the plus button for a new one, Brush, and we're just going to brush in. And then we're going to go in here in Light and I'm going to boost it super high. And you can see if he gets boosted, then our brush is in a bad spot. So Alright, I think that looks pretty good. And we're just going to drop the exposure all the way down to make it totally black. Then we're going to go back to our main settings, into our light, and we're going to adjust the exposure. And you notice even when we boost it all the way, it looks terrible. We don't get really any of that background, except right by his neck. So if there's something like that, you can go back in, tap on it, and brush it in right there. Alright, much better. We'll drop that back down. Done. Alright, now into our light, I'm going to boost the exposure quite a bit, actually. Bring up our contrast, bring out those punchy details, his facial hair, things like that. And I'm actually going to drop the highlights just a little bit so that it's not overpowering. Alright, next thing I want to do is make sure my color is correct. And color you can absolutely get 100% in camera, but sometimes it changes very quickly from photo to photo, and that's where you go into your temperature and your tint settings. And I think this one's a little too cool. I'm going to boost it just by 2. I think that looks a lot more natural to his skin tone. It does look a little green though, so we're going to boost our tint a hair. And you can boost the vibrance. The nice thing about vibrance is that it saves the skin tones, but the only thing vibrance is boosting here is his blue shirt. I actually don't want that super bright. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to boost the saturation a little bit, give him more of that glow on his face. And I don't usually mess with effects, detail, geometry. However, I will go into optics and turn on lens corrections. This is just going to make sure that if your lens had any compression or distortion, that it's going to adjust for those. Next, I'm going to go into my crop. I'm going to pull that in just a little bit. So there's our crop. Now if you want to make it black and white, you certainly can do that. The old debate about black and white versus color, first of all, I don't think it's a debate, I think it's a choice, because some images just look better. I think dark, dramatic images like this guy I usually look better in black and white. Sometimes I'll deliver in both, just because they both look decent. But it's up to you ultimately. For instance, if I were to make this guy a black and white, it bring out those highlights quite a bit in certain profiles, and it does add a lot of drama. But then we can also drop this down just a little bit to kind of get some of that softness back. I might actually go in here and adjust the saturation of his shirt. So I'll go into color, tap the color wheel, then I'll tap the selective edits, select his shirt, and I'll just drag. And that's that guy. I think that's a pretty good looking image. Tell me what you think down below of this guy. So then last step, we're just gonna hit export, and then we can either save it to files, camera roll, or edit it in Photoshop. It'll actually dynamic link straight over to one of the Photoshop programs. For now, I'm just gonna save to camera roll, always, always, always in maximum size. One photo successfully changed. Alright, let's move to our next one. This guy right here. First step, again, we'll go to our light, check to see if that background shows up. It sure does, so we're just gonna, we'll leave that super bright, go to our selective edits, and then we're going to mask out the background. Then up here in profile, black and white 2 is what I used last time. I still think that looks really good. However, I don't like how that shirt is showing up, so I'm gonna go over to luminance and just drag that guy down. Saturation, do the same, just a little bit, so that when I go over here, switch it to black and white, that shirt is not so intense. Then we can do the same in here. There is our second image. What do you think of this guy? Let me know down below. Our final image, nice smiley one. Like the last two, boost our exposure. Yep, there's that background. There's that guy. Done. Go back to here. Exposure back to a bright but comfortable level. I'll leave that where it is. Optics, lens corrections. While we're here, I don't like how his entire face is totally lit up. I'm actually going to go back to selective edits on this particular guy. Add another one. This time I'm going to do a graduated filter. I'm going to drag in from the side. We're going to drop the exposure just a little. Yeah, we're going for a black and white, so we want any extra drama we can get because it'll become softer and more pleasing when we get into that color profile. Drop it just a little bit. I like that, but I think I want to move our gradient filter. I think I like that. I like the crop on that guy. We are all set. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this fast and messy editing tutorial on Apple iPad or any device that supports Lightroom CC. Please like, subscribe, and as always, I would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions down below. Let me know if you've got some video ideas. Thanks. See you next time.